Hi, Trey. I'm not sure which, I think these are the ones that you're having a problem with from that section. So I just wanted to go through a couple of examples and hopefully that'll help. If you have something else that you need a little bit of help with, just let me know, okay? All right, so this is one of the problems from that section. I believe it's homework. What is this? Unit 2, topic 2. So this is one of the problems that you missed, that 9/8 minus 1/6 equals -4 minus 11/3. So the idea is that you need to simplify in order to solve this, right? Remember, when we simplify, we're looking for like terms. Remember, like terms are when you have the same variable to the same exponent. So something like x and x squared are not, well, using another x, let's do this. Let's say we had y and y squared. These are not like terms because y here is, remember, if there's no exponent, it's the same thing as a 1. Here you have a 1 and here you have a 2. So these are not the same variable with the same exponent. Now, let's look at some other examples. So we have, let's say we have x and x to the third. We have y squared, x squared, and then we have x and x. Again, these are not like terms because of the exponent. These are not like terms, even though their exponent's the same, the variable's not the same. Here, these are like terms because they are the same variable to the same power. So that means that we need to look back at our equation to figure out where we have like terms. So here we have an m to the first power, right? When there's nothing there, it's the same thing as a 1. And here we have another m to the first power. So I'm going to take that off just so it's not confusing. So these are like terms. So when we have two variables with the same exponent and we're combining them, this is the same thing as saying 9/8 minus 1/6 all times m. Okay, and then we equals -4 minus 11/3. All right, so first we need to do that 9/8 minus 1/6. There's a couple ways to do that. I'm going to show you just real quick how to do it, not manually, but by hand. If you remember, you need to find the least common denominator. I'm sure you probably do this in your calculator. But if you find the least common denominator, I can't even find my calculator, sorry. If you find the least common denominator, it's going to be 24. I just know that by looking at it. If you do need help figuring that out, let me know and I can explain that too. I know it's 24. So in order to get this by 24, we have to multiply by 3. So this is going to be 27/24 minus 4/24 all times m, which equals -4 minus 11/3. So then we have to subtract that. 27 minus 4 gives us 23. So we're going to pick up over here. We have 23/4 m equals -4 minus 11/3. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and erase this side so that I can rewrite that with a little bit more space to work. Okay, so we have 23/4 m equals -4 minus 11/3. All right, do you see any other like terms in this equation? Yes, we have two constants here. Constants are also like terms, right? Because there's no variable. Those are just numbers you subtract. So in order to get the least common denominator here, we would have -12/3 minus 11/3, right? And over here we have 23/4 m. Oops, I'm sorry, that's a 24. Okay. So now we subtract. So we have 23/24 m equals, and what's that? -12 minus 11 gives us -23/3. So now, in order to get that m isolated, we need to multiply both sides by this reciprocal, right? So if you multiply 24 over, oops, I'm running out of room over here. Shoot, won't even let me erase it. All right. We have to multiply both sides by 24 over, yeah, 24 over 23. Remember, when you multiply a number like 1/2 times 2 over 1, that's the reciprocal, you're always going to get 1. So that's why you need to multiply by the reciprocal, because you want to get rid of that number. All right, so we're going to multiply this side by 24 over 23. Wow, that's really nice because it's going to look a lot prettier. So we come back over here. Again, those go to 1, right? So now we have just m equals, and these are going to cancel. So we have negative 24 over 3. And when we simplify that again, we get negative 8. Now let's double check and see what that answer was, just to be safe. Oh, m equals 23. Huh. Okay, yeah, so here's the correct answer. It says m equals negative 8, which is what we got. All right, so I hope that kind of helps. Let's go through another example. Let's see another one that might be, I don't know. Let me know if you need distributed power. Here's look at some that are just simplified, because it sounds like you're having a hard time with that. So we'll look at a couple. Oh, you got that one right. So let's see what else we got here. Simplify. So it looks like you're okay when it's just simplifying. It's when you need to solve and simplify. Let's take a look at this one. This one looks like it might be a little messier. Okay. Oh, this one's kind of a tricky one. Not tricky. I can see why. So let's look at this. 1/14 n plus 6/17, oops, equals -4 plus 4. So remember, the first thing you need to simplify. Well, looking at this, I know that's 0. So that equals, we still have that 1/14 n plus 6 over 17 n. Now I'm going to tell you right now, I can look at this and know that n is going to be 0, because I know that I can combine these two. And once I combine them, I'm going to write it right here, some number, like a fraction, times n. It's going to be some number. It doesn't matter what number it is. Whenever you have like any number times n equals 0, that n has to equal 0. But let's go ahead and do out the steps just to make sure we understand. Just a sec. All right. Oops. Sorry about that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Adding the fractions with a calculator just for time's sake. But let's go ahead and break it down. So when we have these, we have the same variable, right? And that same exponent of 1. I wrote that to circle it. But the idea is that it's the same, right? So that means that we can combine them. So we combine their coefficients. Oops. Here we go. Combine the coefficients. So we have 1/14 plus 6/17 n equals 0. So when we add those numbers, we have 1/14 plus, again, I know that right off the bat that it's going to have to be n equals 0, but let's go ahead and just keep writing it out. So when we do that, it gets some horribly hideous, ugly fraction, and it is 101 over 238 equals 0. Oops, excuse me, there's the n there. So whatever we multiply by the reciprocal, whatever we multiply by, so here we multiply by, what is it, 238 over 101. We're going to multiply 238 over 101. It doesn't matter because you're multiplying by 0. So n equals 0. Okay? All right, let's see if we can find another one to go through, because that one was kind of an oddball one. Here, let's look at this simplifying. Okay. Oops. Okay. So this problem says simplify 6x minus 9 minus x plus 12. So one thing that's really helpful, just right off the bat, is if you're having a problem with a specific topic, is maybe even to show me some of your scratch work so that I can kind of identify, maybe you're making the same mistake every time and we can identify it. But without seeing your scratch work, I can't tell where the issue might be. So if you do have like a problem where you're like, wow, I just can't figure that out, and you have your scratch work, let me know and I can try to work it out with you. All right, so the first thing we need to do when we simplify, the first thing we need to do is distribute, and then we need to combine like terms, okay? So to distribute, we multiply like that. So we get 6x minus 54. And then remember, when there's no number here, that's the same thing as saying a 1. So we need to distribute that negative through. So now we have minus x minus 12, right? So we need to look at where our like terms are. Again, same variable, same exponent. Here we just have constants, so we'll be combining those. So first we have 6x minus x. Now remember, that's the same thing as saying 6 minus 1 to all times x. So that gives us 5x. And then we have negative 54 minus 12, which gives us negative 66. Yep, that's negative 66. So that should be the simplified answer because there's no more like terms. There's no parentheses to distribute through. So let's just double check. 5x minus 66. All right. So there's a few examples. I hope that kind of helps clarify some of the issues you're having with simplification. But listen, if you're still having a hard time, let me know and we can either schedule a quick Zoom call or show me some of your scratch work so I can figure out where the issue is. All right, I hope that helps. Let me know if you're still having a hard time or have any other questions.